Niebling, Parker, onto Harrison, Mike Ford, Austin, out to Sullivan juggles, and finally it's Duncan Platt low down, and Paul Round high up puts him down. Harrison again, ball out in the tackle to Parker. He's put down by Russell on the edge of a penalty area. Thompson inside to Rudd, and that's fifth tackle. Parker kicks and scores. Gets to his own kick about a foot inside the dead ball line after 3.5 minutes play. OKR in the first series attacking 6 from either team. As Ian Taylor lays the law down to the Oldham team under the post, as Fletcher pushes the ball between to make it into a 6-0 lead. Casey getting up rather fragilely. Richard Russell loses the ball in the tackle. Referee Whitfield, who's in a perfect position to see, says that's a penalty. About 43 yards out from the try line, about 8 yards to the right-hand side of the right-hand post, left-footed, and he pushes it past the left-hand post, but sorry, in between. Obviously eyesight not my strong point this afternoon. Oldham ultimate account then. I think referee Whitfield giving David Bishop a lesson on how to put the ball in the scrum. Didn't seem to be any different. Duncan Platt up well. Ball out in the tackle though. Parker finally wrapped up by Charlie McAllister. Des Harrison to take the ball up. Spins. And then downed well and truly by the Oldham second row partnership. Niebling just caught by one arm by Round, and McAllister finishes him off. Lyman got Bishop outside him. He's not going to get the ball out of that tackle. Treatment coming on for OKR's Des Harrison. Drop goal between the posts and Wayne Parker. A casual boot swings. Thompson takes 10 yards out from his own line and manages to get a lot further than he should have. Parker at first man to Emma, who's McAllister rounded, and for good measure Fieldhouse. Harrison, Brett Clark stops him, but the ball comes away yet again. A lucky pass finds Gary Clark, who's taken by John Henderson, and a retreating Paul Lord. Yet another player loses a boot, this time it's John Henderson. Niebling puts Rudd through, and Parker's in for his second try. Brian Niebling worked the wonders about 35-40 yards out from the Oldham line. Fletcher slots the ball through, taken well by Fieldhouse. Sukema. Oldham surely will want to keep Hulkar way down here on these tackles, as Wayne Parker receives treatment, and Brian Niebling goes through another gap, and Tommy Martin picks up, comes inside, his first touch, takes Oldham up to within 12 yards of the Hulkar line. Quick play the ball, Richard Irvin in an angle off his touchline, goes to the post where he's knocked down only yards short. Andy Ruane tries to kid his opposite number, but he's taken. Ford, Clark to Round. Round still going. A yard short as Rudd gets back in front of him. Brett Clark, and Paul Lord's in. Paul Lord in for his 29th try of the season. Gary Hyde, who probably never really believed he'd be here, even if he thought he might be. 10 yards from the touchline, 28 yards out, right-footed. Moreau says yes, and so do the touch judges. Oldham come back to within 5 points. And Keith Newton will pack down at number 10. Parker to Harrison, into Newton, and round. Parker on the switch. And again, Gary Hyde gets in the right place to stop him. Lyman. Even if it had made the line, I don't think there's any way they got that down between Brett Clark and Keith Newton. Dummy play the ball to Emma, who was put on his back a yard short. That's 5th tackle, referee Whitfield says. Niebling, Austin going crossfield looking for a gap. Throws out a pass, which from here looked a good yard forward. But it's not to be. So Gary Clark gets in at the corner. About 2 minutes to go to half-time plus stoppage. Charlie McAllister. The wind, what there is certainly not high up. Grubber kicks over halfway. Tony Sullivan down on one knee, picks up. Goes crossfield. Where he's taken by a waiting Richard Russell. Bishop. Let's play on. Knocked down by Brett Clark. And Bishop was playing for a penalty there, which referee Whitfield wasn't interested in. McAllister winds up a long pass into no man's land. And that's put Paul Lyman in under the post. They've now scored 31 points. Mike Ford scuttles away. And he's tackled by Parker and Lightfoot. Pull round. Michael Ford to feed the scrum. And already Oldham got a long way to take the ball back to try and establish. And let's play on. John Fieldhouse failing to keep the ball in, however hard he tried. Harrison into Newton, but still gets the ball away one-handed to Parker. Out and again in the tackle to Lightfoot. Round. Ruane giving him no chance to get that one. Parker with a lot of players outside him. And disaster after only a minute of the second half as Des Harrison, with a massive overlap outside him, strides in. Fletcher puts the icing on the cake, so it's 29-8. Richard Irvin into Niebling and Emma. Keith Newton to Ford, to Clark, to John Henderson, who goes past Fletcher, but Parker takes him. Brett Clark wants to come up the short side, which he does through Russell. Just into the 25. Clark again. Ford winds up. Pull round backwards and Keith Newton in loose ground. I think surprised to get through there was Newton. Referee says it came off his boot. Michael Ford dummies. And Mike Ford's in for a try. Hyde, right-footed. Kicks his second goal of the game, his 30th of the season. Parker attempts to come inside Ruane. There's Harrison. Yet again gets the ball away, this time to Parker. Parker looks. Sullivan's far too far away, so he goes forward as far as he can and takes for tackle. Oldham being gradually pushed back. Lightfoot. Austin attempts to kick past Charlie McAllister. It's a long way around, Charlie. John Henderson. Put down strongly by Thompson. Mike Ford spots something short side and comes back onto John Fieldhouse. To John Henderson, and Henderson just ankle tapped and gets there. Looked like John Henderson was going to stride in, but an ankle tap. No hands on him, he rolled. And he's pulled it past the left-hand post. And the Yorkshire chants of the combined Hull KR and Bradford supporters goes quiet. Paul Lord waits, takes. Mike Ford says, give it me if you want. He didn't want, so Michael stops. John Fieldhouse attacked in half-back. Points in all directions, but then takes it himself and taken by Nieblin and Rudd. Mike Ford dummies one. Then gives Keith Newton a ball down the centre. Obstruction on Tommy Martin off the ball. Keith Newton, though, makes good yardage. Along Oldham suddenly doing what they weren't in the first half. Ball round, away from Nieblin, onto Ruane. In fact, Charlie McAllister, one-handed out, picked up by Tommy Martin. Richard Irving, and that's fifth tackle with Richard Irving brought down 15 yards short. Fieldhouse, Michael Ford, hoist for Tommy Martin. Everybody's onside, and the referee doesn't give a try. Hull KR players left on the ground. It's indeed a tap 25, and Irving to stand off. Gary Hyde, back to Michael Ford. Brett Clark with room to move in, comes inside Lyman, away from Fletcher, back to Tommy Martin, and Martin out to Irving, and Irving's into the corner. And one gets the feeling Hull KR have gone. Left-footed. It either just does or just doesn't, and just doesn't. There's been 21 points in front. The gap now narrowed to 7. Fletcher kicks off. Mike Ford bounces it off his body and brings John Henderson in early. Henderson into Thompson and Nieblin. Brett Clark still on his way back. Mike Ford to Charlie McAllister, who gets away from Austin twice. Dummies. Then feeds on to Michael Ford. Ford goes back for the outside. Over the 20 to the 25. Newton, Ruane. John Fieldhouse back to Keith Newton, to Ruane. Richard Russell will settle it down. Finally pulled down by Nieblin about 12 yards out. Struggles to get to his feet. Clark. Henderson accelerates into Zukema. I'm sure that's fourth tackle. The boys on the right want the ball. John Fieldhouse coming up on the blind side. Paul round to try and batter and spin his way over. Fifth tackle, 2 yards short. Quickly plays it. Andy Ruane cross kicks. And both sides have knocked on. So that'll be a scrum down Oldham head and ball. And that was a well-used 6 tackles. One like that. And that, I'm sure, is a bad mistake. It was pretty obvious it was knocked on first by Hull KR, and it wasn't a rising ball. And that's what games turn on, is bad decisions. Ball comes out though, Michael Ford picks up. And that's 2 against the head. Andy Ruane into Harrison and Rudd. Michael Ford organising till it Paul round where he wants him. Ford, and here comes round. John Fieldhouse to acting half-back, 9 yards out. For dummies. And gets to within 5 yards. Ruane, Clark, away from one. And that's 5th tackle as he's taken down by Emma. Twice. And Ruane's in! Ruane with a half dummy makes the line, and that's all that matters. Right-footed, likely to swing the ball across the face. Which unfortunately he does. Michael Ford making a lot of yardage, and White's clean as well. Okay, our fullback, Lightfoot on the ground. Ruane into Irving. Fieldhouse. Michael Ford, long pass. Well picked up by Paul Round. Round running at Sullivan, brings Irving inside him. Irving over the 25. Still going before he's put to ground by Niebling inevitably. Ford scuttles away from acting halfback. Chips for the corner. And I think it was going to be too long anyway, but OKR taking no chances. Drop out at Stalls before the halfway line. Gary Hyde gets a beautiful bounce. And he's wrapped up by Niebling. John Fieldhouse, dummies, and he's taken by Rudd and by Lyman. Oldham still 3 points down as Paul Round. Charlie McAllister lurking at left centre. The ball comes out very deep. Brett Clark puts Keith Newton out. Ball back to Brett Clark. Superb pass to John Henderson. Paul Lord. Lord stays in play and back to Henderson. And Henderson stopped a foot short with a tackle from Jimmy Irving. Paul Lord from acting halfback. Spotted a gap, only one boot on but just failed. This is 5th tackle. Mike Ford, Charlie McAllister, Gary Hyde, Tommy Martin waits. This is last tackle, and Tommy Martin's in! And Oldham are in front. 8 minutes left to play, and yet again a try on last tackle. Gary Hyde, right-footed, and yet again slots it across the front. Parker up the short side on his own, and Paul Round rips the ball out. Don't think he even believed himself he'd got it then. John Fieldhouse coming up the short side, Andy Ruane pirouettes. And one gets the feeling as much as anything Oldham are trying to kill time. John Fieldhouse from acting halfback, dumped on the edge of the penalty area, which is still showing. Russell from acting halfback. It's certainly simple rugby, but you're less likely to make mistakes with it. Ruane, John Fieldhouse, Grubber kicks. David Bishop gets away. Mike Ford to kick for somewhere. Sullivan takes, and he's caught by Martin. But suddenly the OKR eyes are on again. Fletcher breaks, and finally he's scrabbled to ground on halfway. Ball going out left to Irving. Irving on his own. Wrapped up by McAllister. Parker. Back to Rudd. Rudd under Newton. Less than 2 minutes to play. Paul Round still on the floor, perhaps making sure he's not done for offside. Irving. Irving to Lyman. Lyman steps inside Martin. Ball still alive. And he's lost that in there. And Paul Round comes out with the ball. Charlie McAllister lies hurt, struggles to his feet. We're inside the last minute on my watch, and this is really going to be the genuine. 5 drives and a kick. Niebling's down, perhaps in desperation. The sun taking its energy of everybody. Gary Hyde takes some strain off his forwards. Takes a long time to go down, and that's as important as anything. Ruane to Irvine. Irvine finally put down by Niebling and Thompson. John Fieldhouse to John Henderson. And suddenly Armstrong trying to keep the ball alive to Parker. Parker for the line, he's knocked down. Rudd to Irvine. Bishop to Rudd. 40 minutes up on my watch. Irvine from acting halfback. Back to Bishop. Bishop winds up a long pass, and Martin takes it. There was a suspicion of a Oldham hand on it before it got to Martin, but nothing from the officials. Richard Russell, and surely now Oldham are home by this tenuous 1-point lead. Andy Ruane boots for the left-hand touchline again. It doesn't run, but it's a long way back. Paul Lord takes Fletcher, gets the ball away. Gary Clark, wrapped up by Richard Russell. 41 minutes up on my watch. Parker coming back to the short side, and there's a hooter. Oldham have won what must surely be the greatest comeback in a cup game of any description. Back after 6 minutes of the first half. 1 minute of the first half. 29 points to 8 down. To come back to win 30 points to 29. Scoring 5 tries and only 1 goal without reply in this incredible second half. Oldham, Mike Ford, man of the match. Mike Ford, which one can't really doubt. Perhaps so often this season he could have had the man of the match time after time. But Oldham come up below us through the netting to be presented with a trophy. A trophy which at half time many must have thought had gone. There's still Oldham players on the pitch celebrating as Mike Ford raises the trophy. Oldham celebrate. Hull Kingston Rovers look bemused, as they have done since about halfway through this second